Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Wrestling Nerdcast on the Angry Marks Podcast Network with your host, Will Huckaby and Mika Villas.
Hey, once again, ladies and gentlemen, it's Tuesday night. I'm in the house, so is my co-host. We ready to do this. It's time for the Wrestling Nerdcast. As usual, this is a podcast brought to you by the Angry Marks Podcast Network. Huge shout out to our sponsors at Indie Customs. Be sure to check them out on Facebook at Indie Customs, Twitter at Indie Customs. Pick up my brand new World Star Hip Hop inspired T-shirt. Pick up some T-shirts from the Gymnasty Boys, the Workhorsemen, the Hierarchy, the Lethal Lovers, etc. Mr. Sleaze, almost forgot him, etc., etc., etc. And while you're up there on the computer, doing your social media thing, be sure to check out our good friends over there at Pro Wrestling World for all of your pro wrestling news and gossip and info. As usual, I'm your host, the AIWF World Heavyweight Champion, the World Wrestling Grand Prix Champion, the West Virginia Championship Wrestling Heritage Champion, the National Treasure and reality show TV star, the disrespectful intellectual, the Southern gentleman, the incredible Huck, Will Huckaby. That's right. I cut down a couple of my monikers and stuff. But anyway, as usual, I'm not alone on this podcast. I'm joined once again by my co-host. She is one half of the world's cutest commentary team. She is Chicago Win. She is the lover of waffles, the idolater of affection, the receiver of all things unsolicited. She is Mrs. Hashtag What That Mouth Do, Mika Villas. Mika, what's going on, girl?
It's Tuesday. We're in here ready to talk some wrestling and, just kind of rolling in. It's been a pretty cool week on my end. What about you, buddy?
I had a weekend full of wrestling. Went and checked out a show Friday night. Went and checked out Mega Championship Wrestling up in Marmot, West Virginia. Went and checked that show out. Not bad, not horrible. Main event was good friends of mine, Chase Stevens and versus the Get Bundles and stuff. Really good match. It was a really good main event. The crowd was really hyped for it and stuff. There was a couple of fans, especially old ladies and stuff, who was giving Chase Stevens the finger and, smacking their butt at him to, I guess, basically telling him to kiss his ass. Yeah, it was basically telling Chase Stevens to kiss their ass or whatever. Chase Stevens is an amazing wrestler.
How does Chase Stevens, he elicits such a response. I've seen him live and been the recipient of Chase Stevens' butt to my face. But what is it about him that even old ladies just literally get all worked up and blood pressure go through the ceiling? What craziness is this?
He's just really good at what he does. Then Saturday I was the debut inaugural show for International Combat Sports up in Dunbar, West Virginia. I defended my AIWF World Heavyweight title against one Chase Armstrong. Got the win in that one. And then Sunday, I had to go back to my Lucha Libre roots, NRLL in Greensboro. In Monroe, North Carolina. I was in Monroe, North Carolina for NRLL. We had a 6-man Lucha Libre style match, 3 rounds. The bad thing was it was 90 degrees outside. The even worse thing is that there was grills, people cooking on grills all the way around the ring because it was like a festival. I almost died. I think I lost 5 pounds wrestling in that match. What about you, Mika? How was your weekend? I've seen on your social media and stuff you did some traveling this weekend.
I made a town this weekend. If you're following me on social media, if you're not, you should be. Mika Villas. I went to beautiful, picturesque Nashville, Tennessee for the Making Towns Classic. This was an event of all females, 16 women, Papa Hills and Making Towns guy. They kind of had this brainchild that they wanted to put on a women's tournament, and they did it. It was, I would say, successful, great talent. You have the likes of Jordan Grace, Aja Pereira, Sue Young, Priscilla Kelly, Kylie Ray. It was awesome. You had first round, two sections. So if you couldn't come to the first half, you came to the second half, and just great wrestling. All the ladies brought it. I was thoroughly impressed and happy with the effort and the skills that they brought to the ring, because you figure okay, they'll just be, phoning it in. Oh, hell no. These girls brought it. Su Young
I'm trying to figure out, because Papa Hales and his clan and stuff, like, for them not to be wrestling people, they are wrestling people, and for some strange reason, they always end up putting together really good events, really big events that are well promoted and well attended. Like, how is that? Just because they're like wrestling Twitter people or what?
Well, they are wrestling people. They're not wrestlers per se, but they're definitely wrestling people. Dylan Hales is a commentator. He's done a little booking. I don't know if I should be telling all his business, but they're wrestling people very, very much so. But they're also, yes, a part of wrestling Twitter. And as much as people like to poo-poo on wrestling Twitter does have a very strong standing in the wrestling community where, if they get behind somebody, a group, a person, a tag team, or what have you, they really get behind, they do support, because they're happy when there's good talent out there for them to go see, and they're willing to travel to see them. So Papa Hales is a self-proclaimed mark of women's wrestling, and he brought together some great ladies to bring to Nashville area. This was in the old TNA Asylum, so in a historic venue nonetheless. And let me tell you, you said you almost died outside in the heat? Well, guess what? There was AC like a mofo in the TNA or old TNA Asylums there at the Nashville Fairgrounds. It was damn near cold in that place, okay? That's how good it was.
Boo. Was that the only show you made this weekend, or did you go anywhere else?
Only show I made this weekend. It was a 4-hour drive, but trust me when I tell you, it was like 800 hours worth of action. There's going to be video VOD. I suggest everybody check out the VOD. I believe it's going to be on Powerbomb TV. I could be wrong. But wherever it is, Making Towns Classic, trust me, you do not want to miss out on the action. Go ahead and pick it up, because the girls are great.
So let me ask you a question, because you said it was so much action and stuff. How much of that Himalayan water blessed by Tibetan monks that you're imbibing in right now, how much did you have this weekend?
First and foremost, I'm drinking coffee through a straw because I'm fancy. Pinkies up. Secondly, I actually only drank one apple-flavored beer, so I didn't drink. I don't like beer, so, apple flavoring kind of kills the beery taste. I was perfectly and completely sober, just had like some water, some regular soda. Nashville hot chicken is a thing. If you don't know it, I went to get some Nashville hot chicken at this place called Party Foul, so it was pretty cool. I love being out at events and being like, it's okay to have an adult beverage, but for me, being like sober and just kind of fully in control of all facilities or faculties is really a better thing than to be, like drinking or whatever. Now, afterwards, I did get offered some drinks by one bride who shall remain unnamed. We kind of hung out a little bit afterwards. But again, I didn't partake of any amenities. We had fun just kind of hanging out, kicking it in the spot that wrestlers hang out at after shows, Waffle House.
Well, speaking of Waffle House and talking about shows and Nashville, we have a huge show for tonight. We actually have, usually I know, ladies and gentlemen, we only have one guest for you, but tonight we have two. So right now we're going to call our first guest. He has something that he really wants to talk about and stuff, and I think Mika might actually enjoy this. So CW, hit the phone. Do you like what you hear? Do you like hearing me and Mika go back and forth between ourselves and talking to some amazing guests from around the world of pro wrestling? Well, then be sure to check out our Patreon at patreon.com/The Wrestling Nerdcast. Donate everything from $7 and up. And as your donations go up, so do the prize packages. Everything from a follow on social media to join our exclusive Wrestling Nerdcast Facebook group to being able to book your own podcast with a guest of your choice within reason, people. Because trust and believe, we're not getting Stone Cold or AJ Styles on this podcast. But once again, if you like us, please support us and spread the word. Thank you. Talk to you later. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. Our first guest tonight. I guess you could call him like the Prince of Hardcore. I'm not really sure. I call the dude a goofball. He's a goober. I call him a shitty wrestler. I've known him for years. And I'm really only giving him time tonight on the show because this Sunday he's putting together a great event called Wrestling for Wally at the SPCW Auditorium in Lafayette, Tennessee. So we brought him on the show to talk about everything that's going on, why he decided to put together this event, and what matches you can see. So with no further ado, tonight's first guest, is Mr. I guess Brad Cash. I don't know what to call you now. I mean, perennial loser, always second place to Will Huckaby. I don't know what to call you now, Brad.
Always second place to Will Huckaby. What the hell? Second place to Will Huckaby in what? In like
everything.
cheesesteak eating contests, maybe. And sucking at everything. Yeah, I'm probably second to you in that. But as far as wrestling, like I'm always gonna be better than you.
We're not going to get to that. That's for another show because you've never beaten me in anything. But this Sunday, Wrestling for Wally, SPCWA Auditorium in Lafayette, Tennessee. Please tell us about the event.
All right. So Wally Miles, a.k.a. Jagger Sterling, was one of the managers. I don't even want to just say that. One of the guys who really helped me in wrestling. I can honestly say there's no Brad Cash without Wally Miles, and he just recently, back in January, was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, and it took a really big hit on him and his family because he had to stay out of work for months, having to go back and forth to the doctor. He couldn't walk on some days. He couldn't talk on some days, and he's got like a very young daughter that doesn't understand what's going on. So I wanted to put this together for him. Well, not just for him, but for his family too, to make up for just some of the money that they haven't been able to acquire because he hasn't been able to work or anything. He still can't go to work. So this is for him as a not just helping him out, but as a personal thank you for everything he's done for me from me. So
now let me ask you this question, and because I have to be fair, and even though I volunteer to be on the show and everything and stuff, and I will be in attendance also. What is going to be different? Because of course in professional wrestling we see a lot of benefit shows, we see a lot of charity shows and stuff. Can you tell us what's different about this event than a lot of other charity or benefit wrestling shows that people may see?
First of all, with this event, there's not one person on this card that hasn't been handpicked by me. I didn't necessarily go out and look for volunteers. I didn't, go out and look for just anybody that wanted to be on it. I wanted the best talent that would come and do the benefit show. Even you, Will Huckaby. Even you. I even wanted you because Joe Black was going to be in another match. So.
Oh, that's so wrong. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and pass. I'm gonna go ahead and pass over to my co-host Mika Bills because I know she has some questions for you. Mika, what do you have for our guests?
Well, first and foremost, thank you for being on and thank you for being a constant pain in Huckaby's side. I really appreciate it. I love when I see your interactions online because you're just totally dogging him. It makes my damn day.
Oh, you're very welcome.
And secondly, this is great to give back, especially to someone who you just credit to having a hand in making Brad Cash. Parkinson's is a hell of a disease, so I want to make sure that we say a couple times in case people aren't able to come to the show. Is there a way that they can donate? Because if you've ever had to deal with or had the experience of a loved one or just a friend or family member who's experienced Parkinson's, it is one of those things, like you said, it's hard to understand as an adult and as a child, especially a young child. It's got to be even harder. So I want to make sure our listeners and our fans have a chance to donate. So
he told me he was going to, he was actually working on just getting donations for Parkinson's in general, which Wally Miles has some stuff set up that people can donate. As far as this event itself, I mean, honestly, the best way would just be to just get a hold of him through Facebook. He has two separate Facebooks, Wally Miles, or a separate one that is Wall Lee, Lee. But everything else is just coming straight from the door. So.
All right. So you've said you have some talented people and Huckaby on this card. Tell us who the talented people, because we don't care about Huckaby. Tell us some of the names that you have that you've handpicked to be part of this benefit.
Well, I guess we'll go ahead and state probably the biggest star on the show outside of Brad Cash is Crazy Steve from Impact Wrestling. I know a lot of people know Crazy Steve and know about his Impact Tag Title run with Abyss. He is coming out. He will be there. As I mentioned earlier, Joe Black will be there. The 6'8", 400+ pound monster Jeter will be there. There's just so much talent on this. Some Nashville guys, Lee Byford, who's made a name for himself as one of the toughest guys in wrestling. A lot of Georgia guys, Matt Gilbert, Brian Blaze, Bill the Butcher. And then we got 3 very talented women on the card. You have Nicole Payne, who has only been wrestling for a couple years now and has already been making waves all over the country. You have a Southeast vet in Rock and Roll Roxy, who has also been making waves over the past couple years and has made history at a couple of the major Southeastern promotions. And then you have Nina Monet, who has wrestled in Mexico, wrestled all over the country, and is one of the top females from the Southeast. So it's a very stacked card. I know we don't have a lot of time right now for me to go over everybody there and everybody's credentials, but it is a very stacked card filled with a lot of guys I am very grateful that are coming out to do this for one of my friends.
That is awesome. You have you talk about Nicole Stratton, Nina Monet. You've got a lot, Joe Black, tons of talent. Is Huckaby going to be cleaning up afterwards? That's the only thing I can possibly see him doing.
Well, I was going to have him do that, or maybe sell concessions.
He would eat them. He would definitely eat them.
Help with. Yeah, that's true. Maybe that's a horrible idea. Let's keep him as far away from food as possible. Maybe he can help people park cars.
Have you seen him drive?
Like
he could maybe be the road. That's probably all he's qualified for. Just let people run over him. I'm run over him enough. I'm gonna let you go back and have your talk with him, and please feel free to just continue to bury him. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Wrestling Nerdcast on the Angry Marks Podcast Network. We're talking to Tennessee wrestler Brad Cash, if that's what you want to call him. A longtime friend of mine, longtime competitor and stuff. Let's talk about a couple of matches, Brad, because there's very few times that me and you are in the same building at the same time. I know that I've issued a challenge to you on social media and stuff, and you have accepted. So I know that me and you are going to have a match. But let's talk about some other matches. What is the main event for this card?
The main event for the card is scheduled. Well, it was originally scheduled to be Joe Black versus Crazy Steve versus Jonathan Llewellyn, also known as JDL. There has been a couple changes and a couple surprises, so I don't want to spoil anything for anybody as far as the main event. However, we do have a tag match earlier in the card between 2 very similar teams, and first of all, before I get into that, and as much as I hate you with a fiery passion, and sometimes love you at the same time, I believe East Tennessee is one of the places that is lacking in the racial mixture of wrestling. So a lot of the card is very mixed as far as race goes. And one of the matches is one of the best teams with African Americans versus one of the best teams with Caucasians in my mind. And that is Shane Daniels and Drew Game against Jeter and Brian Blaze.
Oh, gee. Hold on. Y'all talking bad about me being on the card. Hold on. You have Drew Game is going to be on this show?
Yeah, he's 10 times better than you, so of course he's going to be on the card.
If he's 10 times better than me, he's 100 times better than you. Well, that's going to be a crazy match if it's Big Effing Deal versus Shane Daniels and Drew Game. Those two teams are like kind of evenly matched as far as big man, little man tag teams go. That's one of man. I might actually have to ignore anything that you said in the locker room to watch that match.
Well, I'm not even sure I'm going to let you in my locker room, first of all. I mean, we may set you up like a tent outside or something.
Wow.
We may get a piece of paper with Sharpie that says AIWF World Heavyweight Champion, but the rest of us will be inside, with the air conditioning and the locker room and the beautiful women and.
So this show is going to be at the SPCW auditorium. Is this just a one-off show, or is this something, or not even just wrestling for Wally, but is this something that you're looking into doing, is running more shows, more benefit shows, or just being a promoter in general?
I've booked a share of benefit shows before. It's something I'm interested in, but not that I'm necessarily pursuing right now. But it is something that does pique my interest.
All right, and like I said, and then also like I said, the night before, because I know SPCW, they run virtually every Saturday and stuff. Are you afraid that having two shows in the same building back to back is going to affect the draw? Or are you really hoping that the fans and stuff and the people of La Follette really turn out for both days?
I have a very strong feeling that fans will turn out for both days. They have run back-to-back shows before. Me and you were actually on one that was a second day show, and it drew very well. So I'm not really too worried about that, as long as everything is promoted right, and as long as people want to help out. I'm not too worried about that.
Well, Brad, I know our time with you is running very slow. Running very short because you're slow. But before we let you go, I want to get that information again. Once again, this is Wrestling for Wally in La Follette, Tennessee, the SPCW auditorium. I guess the show starts at 7. Doors are opening at 6. Or what time will the doors be opening?
The show is at 2 p.m.
I'm sorry.
In the afternoon. Yeah.
And your flyers are all messed up. I thought it said 2. You got such horrible flyers and stuff, man. It looked like it's 7.
Oh my gosh. Maybe he told you the late time because he really didn't want you there.
Maybe. He gave me the fake.
Wow. Way to go, Huck. I mean, you're wanting to blame the flyers over you not being able to tell time. That's cool. But yeah, doors open at 1 p.m. Bell time is 2 p.m.
All right.
That's when the little hand is on the 2 wheel and the big hand is on the 12. That's what time bell time is. I know somebody's going to have to tell you that day, but I'm telling you now. I'm explaining it the best I can, Will.
Whatever. Any other information that you would like to give out and stuff as far as this show goes?
Just there will be a couple of different raffles. One I believe that SPCW is helping out with is there will be a raffle to pie a wrestler in the face. I will put a ticket in hoping that it's your face. So see, they will have full concessions for fans. There will be time to meet with the wrestlers and get autographs and gimmicks and all that good stuff. And once again, this is going to help out a family that is in very need of support right now. So,
all right.
But outside of that, just people come out and have a good time.
All right. Well, thank you once again, Brad, for being the guest in the show, man. I will see you Sunday. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, that's Wrestling for Wally, SPCW Auditorium in La Follette, Tennessee. Doors open at 1 p.m. The show starts at 2. Be sure to come out and check out me. I'll be selling pictures and other merchandise and stuff, and a portion of my gimmicks and gimmick sales and stuff will be going to help out Wally and his family. So thank you, Brad, and we'll catch you on down the road, all right?
All right. See you.
Bye. All right, there it goes. That's the first guest, Mika. First guest down.
I know. We have to have him back just because I love his hate of you. It's amazing.
No, not even.
Don't worry about it. I already scheduled them.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was our first one. Like I said, we have a doubleheader. We're about to call our second guest for tonight. So much better than our first guest. As much as I like/hate Brad Cash, tonight's main guest is a special treat. not only for myself, but also for Mika Villas. So we'll be back with guest number 2 after this word from our sponsors. Do you like what you hear? Do you like hearing me and Mika go back and forth between ourselves and talking to some amazing guests from around the world of pro wrestling? Well, then be sure to check out our Patreon at patreon.com/The Wrestling Nerdcast. Donate everything from $7 and up. And as your donations go up, so do the prize packages. Everything from a follow on social media to join our exclusive Wrestling Nerdcast Facebook group to being able to book your own podcast with a guest of your choice within reason, people. Because trust and believe, we're not getting Stone Cold or AJ Styles on this podcast. But once again, if you like us, please support us and spread the word. Thank you. Talk to you later. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, this is the Wrestling Nerdcast on the Angry Marks Podcast Network. Huge shout out to our sponsors, Indie Customs. Be sure to check them out on Facebook. Check them out and follow them on Twitter. While you're doing that, be sure to say what's up to our good friends at Pro Wrestling World on Facebook for all of your pro wrestling needs, gossip about who's doing what, when, where, why, and who. Tonight's guest, there's so much I can say. This gentleman has so many accolades. First of all, if they say that the Church of Southern Wrestling is the house that AJ Styles built, then this gentleman right here is the foundation upon which it is built upon. This gentleman has won so many titles in so many different companies, not just in the Southeast. He is a Southeast wrestling legend. He is one of the toughest men in professional wrestling. He is one half of one of the toughest tag teams in professional wrestling. He has wrestled everybody under the sun. He is an international name and figurehead. He has been to Japan. He has been to Canada. He has been over Mexico. You name it. There's not a place this man hasn't been. There's not a lot of your favorite WWE stars not only know this man, but know him by his first name, and he has their phone numbers. They can call them at the drop of a dime. To put into perspective, this gentleman is one of New Jack's best friends. And I can vouch for that because I've mentioned his name in front of New Jack. And as soon as I said it, New Jack broke into a smile and started laughing and literally called him my nigga. This guy is amazing. There's nothing else I can say but to say this is tonight's guest is the No Pain Train, Iceberg. What's going on, man?
Oh man, same old shit every day. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. I would be doing better if I didn't have Mika on the line, but we kind of got to have a female perspective on the show, and they kind of stuck me with her. So other than that, I'm doing good.
I thought you were the girl perspective. My bad. I thought you were the chick and I was the dude. Never mind.
Damn. We starting this shit out right now.
Oh, that's right, exactly. This is every week with me and Mika. I want to not delve too much into the history and stuff, but I definitely want to give our listeners and fans a little bit of background on you because you've been wrestling for well over 15, 20 years. You wrestled at NWA Anarchy before it was Anarchy, and it was NWA Wild Side stuff with WWE stars AJ Styles and Luke Gallows and R-Truth and stuff. Who trained you and how'd you break into the business?
Well, funny story, and I probably told it 1,000 times, and I'm probably going to put everybody to sleep when I do tell it. But I literally woke up one Sunday morning bored, and I wanted to find something else to do with my time. And a friend of mine, he knew a guy locally that was so-called in the business. And I asked him, I said, well, find out when they train. I said, and we'll go by there. I said, I'll check it out, see if it's something I want to do. So it just so happened that they were training that day, and I said, well, fuck it, let's go by there. And we went by, and I almost changed my mind about it because this guy had his cats, and I'm talking about some cats bigger than me out there bumping on the fucking ground. Like, he was like, all right, now let's go train. And we walked outside, and I'm looking, where the fuck is the ring at? Oh, I ain't got one. Oh, shit. And he didn't. And then I see these cats, they start taking bumps on the fucking ground, and he was like, you want to try it? I said, no, I ain't fucking stupid. So anyway, I guess I didn't piss him off too much because he was like, look, if you want to come, I've got a show coming up in a couple of weeks. If you want to come, like I'll find something for you to do. Now, mind you, I ain't took a bump, I ain't ran a rope, I ain't done shit, but he gonna find something for me to do. And so, yeah, right. And so, anyway, I go to this show, and I walk in the locker room, and I'm introducing myself to everybody. And that's how I met Murder One. He was on the show, and he took to me right away and told me that they did some training up in Marietta every weekend. They ran shows, I think it was every other weekend. And he was like, yo, man, you know, if you wanna come up, you know, and learn this shit, like, I'll teach you. So I was like, bet, you know what I mean? So like we exchanged numbers and everything, and the rest is history.
Now, you've had a very illustrious career. You've had a career that a lot of people will be jealous of and stuff. Like I said, you've wrestled all over the world. But most importantly, you were there at the Church of Southern Wrestling when it was NWA Wildside. What was the atmosphere like wrestling back then when everybody was, you know, there's so much great talent in professional wrestling, especially on the indies there, and there was so much great talent on those shows. What was it like being a part of that locker room?
I tell you, man, the first time that I'd actually gone up to see one of their shows before I got booked on one. And I was standing in there used to be like a little barrier wall that from the back to where the fans sit. And that's kind of where the boys would, you know, watch the matches from. And one of the first people I encountered was AJ. And he's standing there and he's eating some fried mushrooms from freaking Zaxby's. And he was like, hey, brother, you ever had this? And I'm like, no. I'm a fat kid. I'm not going to turn down food. He was like, here, eat this. It'll change your life. And damn if it didn't. So that was my first experience with really with NWA Wildside and meeting AJ Styles. And then I did a couple of dark matches up there for him. And really, like I love Bill to death, and we get along great. But Bill Behrens was not a fan of mine, just because of the style that I worked and everything, and or what he had seen of me, which at that time was more of the hardcore shit, more of the I don't give a fuck, let's go do it, get a rise out of the crowd. And so he wasn't a fan of mine, but they gave me a couple chances, did some dark matches or whatever. And Steve Martin, though, he was still part of the company, and he really liked me, and he wanted me to come in. So I'm chilling at the house one, let's see, I think it was like on a Thursday or a Friday, and my phone started ringing. It was Jimmy Ray, and Jimmy says, he said, hey man, he said, you wanna come do TV this weekend? And I was like, fuck yeah. And he's like, all right, cool. Look, here's Bill's number. Call him. He'll give you the lowdown. So my first actual experience, not counting my dark matches, because I went in and did jobs and, you know, just whatever I was asked to do because I'm trying to get my foot in the door. But my first ever experience was I got to fill in for Steve Carino, who was the NWA World Champion at the time, and he was supposed to be coming in. And something happened, and Steve didn't make it. So he was supposed to be coming in to work the then Wildside champion, Scotty Wren. And so that's who I worked the fucking main event of they do two TVs up there, second TV main event, working their champion. And Scotty gave me like 95% of the match. Like I owe a lot to Jason Justice, Scotty Wren, how you know him. He gave me 95% of the match, man, and I literally I beat him from corner to corner, all around the ring, just every time he would, start to come back, I was cutting him off, and then I pretty much slipped on the banana peel, and I hit the ropes. I was going to hit him with, I forget what it was, but he hit me with that Psycho Slam. And at the time, I was like 450, maybe 475. I was a lot bigger than I am now. And we went into it, brother, and we did a complete 360. And he pinned me, and the crowd went ape shit. Yeah.
I would have too. Speaking of apes and going ape shit, I'm going to pass it over to my illustrious co-host Mika Villas. Obviously, you know her as one half of the commentating team at AWE and at Mucha Lucha Atlanta. So, Mika, what do you have for Iceberg tonight?
First of all, thank you so much for agreeing to talk to us, because I know everybody hates Huckaby, so you have to hate him too. So thank you for, agreeing to talk to us, because
that's a myth.
That's a myth?
That's a myth. Yeah, I think honestly, I think somewhere, if we were to do like that DNA shit, I think somewhere down the line, me and Huck would be cousins.
I wouldn't wish that on your family line at all, let me tell you. I mean, there is an idiot in every family, so it is much possible that he is, but I digress. Let's talk about you. I'm sorry. It's what we do.
You're fine. Love you, Huck.
So you are a legend, just an absolute positive legend. When I moved south and I had the opportunity to see you live, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. You are one of those people who you're so good that people just don't even realize it. Who have you been in the ring with or just watched that is like that in your eyes? Like, they're so good that people just don't even quite understand it or realize it.
I tell you, I could probably talk forever on it because I've had so many guys through the years. Murder's one of those guys. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand why people can't see what I see. Huck is one of those guys. He's so freaking good. Joe Black is another guy. So fucking good. You know, couple more like recent, like Gallows, man. Gallows is so fucking good to be as big as he is. Like, and I can't wait for that moment to come where everything just kind of pops out and everybody gets it, you know. A young cat, man, that is making a lot of noise, and that I've gotten to know in the last few months, is Austin Theory. And I think he's going to be a huge, huge star. Like, I think he shows up at TV. Like, I think he could skip NXT, show up on the main roster, and like be one of their top guys. I honestly do. God, man, there's so many guys, honestly. You know, and that's just people right off the top of my head, that I'm close with, and like I can watch them, and like I'm always learning something. Tyson Dean, same way. Like, I can watch Tyson, always learning something from him. Chip Day, Agent Armor, Martin Stone, that was another guy. Like, and I think a lot of these cats, you guys would agree with.
Absolutely.
I think Chipper. Gary J, that's another kid. Like, I sit and watch him in amazement. Like, he is so fucking good, I'm glad that we're not in the same era that we used to be, where everybody had to have the damn bodybuilder build to get looked at, That's given more guys opportunities. The fucking Carnies, tremendous. Nick and Carrie and even Trips, because we got to work on a program there at AWE. All three of those guys are absolutely amazing to me, So, coming up, though, it's crazy. I can remember being a 4-year-old kid sitting in front of the television, which would be around, 4 years old, 1978, so I just dated myself. And my parents watched the NWA at 605. And two of the first people that I saw that I absolutely just fell in love with was Abby Abdullah and Dusty Rhodes. And I wound up being able to not only work for, but work with both of them. And to be able to sit under their learning tree, was just like, you've seen the little meme where the fucking head explodes and the confetti goes everywhere?
Yeah.
Okay, that's me sitting there reverting back to a 4-year-old child listening to Dusty Rhodes tell me how much money we could have made together, or just put me over. You know what I'm saying? Verbally. Butcher the same way. He put me over verbally, but he put me over physically, which to this day I don't feel like I earned that. He got me my first shot to Japan, and I went over and I worked Mr. Pojo, and Mr. Pogo, I'm sorry, God rest his soul, worked Mr. Pogo. And pretty sure if you look it up, I'm the only man in history that's ever pinned Pogo and Butcher.
I love it.
I've really been fortunate, man. And like Hook talking about New Jack, man, that's my dude.
Like, it's amazing because again, you've got all these legends, and you're a legend, and there's somebody who you say you like that, I'm okay with on occasion. It's Huckaby. I'm gonna let you talk back to him. If not, he'll cry like the woman that he is.
Whatever. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Wrestling Nerdcast on the Angry Marks Podcast Network. We're talking to wrestling legend Iceberg, NWA Wildside, NWA Anarchy, Georgia Wrestling, Georgia, Tennessee, Florida, Carolinas, you name it, he's done it. Iceberg, I want to talk about now because you're still around the scene. You don't really wrestle as much, and you kind of gave all of your friends and family and stuff a health scare, we'll say a year ago, because, I got concussions and I don't really know time that well. But we'll say like a little over a year ago, you gave everybody a health scare and stuff. But you've been seeing a number of promotions and stuff. Does Iceberg still have something left in the old caboose and stuff to do a couple more years of wrestling?
I don't know if it'll be a couple more years, but I definitely want to do the loop and say my goodbyes properly. My plan last year was I was going to retire in September. And I had everything booked, like every weekend, 2, 3, sometimes 4 days a week booked leading up to, my retirement, which was going to be a sacred ground for PCW. And in June of last year, that's the original health scare that almost killed me. I did die, but they brought me back, and I was in ICU for 8 days. God bless my wife. She slept in. They don't let people stay in ICU with you, but she's hard-headed, which I appreciate. And she slept with 2 chairs pushed up, like the seats butted up, balled up in them, just so she could sleep in the room with me. And at one point, we were actually both in the little hospital bed together. That's how close we are.
Well, your wife is amazing. I'm going to go ahead and say that right now. Your wife is amazing. She's one of my favorite people that I've met in professional wrestling. Like her way better than I like Mika.
Yeah, I'm pretty lucky, man. I really am.
So if you had to, because we see your tag team partner, your longtime tag team partner, might as well say he's your brother from another mother, Tank. He retired last year, last year's SCI. If you had to choose a place that was going to be your last match, where would your last match be at, and who would be your final opponent?
I tell you.
I'm putting you on the spot here. I know, I'm putting you on the spot, man.
I said this at the Scenic City last year during the Q&A with Tank. And at that point in time, and still to this day, that was my last singles match. But if my last singles match, if that was it, career was over, fuck it, we packing the bag, we going home. If that was my last one, it was against Gunnar Miller, and I was completely okay with that.
Well, I'm going to talk about something a little bit funnier and stuff before I hand the mic over to Mika, because I know with you traveling as much as you have, with all the people that you have, I know you've seen some amazing ribs. I know you pulled some ribs on some people and stuff. What was probably one of your favorite ribs, either you pulled on somebody or you've seen pulled on someone?
I think it would be probably when we went down to Puerto Rico back in 2000, and we wrestled on Three Kings weekend, which is the big weekend down there, and we worked for Carlos Colon's company, World Wrestling Council. And so I call up to Butcher's room, because we were staying at a different motel. And I get over to the motel where he is, and it's like this 5-star joint with a fucking casino and all of this shit. And like we staying across town where like I shoot, got a parking ticket down there, and I'm asking the police where I can fucking pay it, and they couldn't tell me. So like I knew I was fucked up and needed to be getting the hell out of there. But we had gone over, we're getting ready to go to one of the shots, and I called up the Butcher's room, and I said, "Hey boss, we're downstairs," and he said, "Is a crazy boy with you?" And this is a friend of mine that he worked for a while, and he was really good. And I think if he just stuck with it, he could have really done something because, he had the size, he had the height, he had the size. And you guys remember Eugene, right? The Nick Dinsmore character, Eugene that was on WWE for a hot minute.
Yes, I remember him. He's like, Nick Dinsmore's one of like my favorite like wrestlers of all times.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this cat was
I loved his
Eugene.
hair.
Yeah, well, this cat was Eugene before Nick Dinsmore ever thought about being Eugene. Like, he did the hair, he did the fucking, like, he went into the simpleton fucking state. I mean, I saw this cat come to the ring one time to American Badass like the Undertaker, and he's riding a fucking tricycle, and then he hops off of it, and takes his lady's fucking electric scooter, you know, that she's used to fucking get around because she can't walk. But anyway, he asked me as a crazy kid with me, and I'm like, yeah. So he sent him up to my room. So I was like, all right, well, I'm going to sit down here at the bar and have one of these fucking daiquiris. So my boy goes up to the fucking room, and Butcher comes to the door, butt-ass fucking naked, and invites his ass to fuck in, and like, he's not going to tell him no because he's scared to death of it. But just imagine Butcher's big ass, butt naked, walking around, bending over, ain't worried about ass cheeks falling apart or nothing. And my boy comes out of the room, and he is 3 shades, this motherfucker's 50 shades of white because he had to endure Butcher's ass, butt motherfucking naked. Like for 10 minutes, right on his fucking own. So I mean, that's one of the funnier things that, you know, that comes to mind right away. I mean, I've seen a lot of shit, man. To break it down to one, it would take me a while. I'd have to, like, y'all would have to call me back another night, and I would have to fucking be like, okay, I've thought about it. This is it.
All right, I'm gonna ask one more question. Before I pass it back to Mika for the last time. While you say you was down there in Puerto Rico and stuff, we've heard. You know, I know I personally heard all kinds of wild, crazy stories about wrestling in Puerto Rico. Were the crowds just as wild and just as dangerous as we've all heard? You know, we've heard about people throwing batteries and almost getting stabbed and cut and everything. Was it that bad when you were there?
Okay, so here's the scenario I'll lay it out for you. The cat that killed Bruiser Brody, right? He was the booker when I went down. The first venue that I worked down there was Hiram B. Thorne Stadium, which is the baseball stadium where he stabbed Brody. His office was located in the fucking bathroom where he stabbed Brody. So you had to go in and get your cues and all this shit from him.
Wow.
That's fucking eerie. You know what I mean? Because, like, Brody died. It was either on my birthday or the day before. So, like, I kind of had to, I don't know, me and Bruiser Brody somewhere linked. You know, but, you know, I go in, I get my shit from him, and I come back, and I'm in the dugout, which is where the heels on one side of the field and the babies are on the other side. And I think it was the Cuban assassin. He stopped me and he said, look, when you go out, go as fast as you can. Go towards second base. The ring was like on the pitcher's mound. He said, go towards second base and don't stop until, like, you don't hear anything behind you. Because they would throw batteries, they would throw rocks, they would throw bottles of piss. Yeah, pretty much every horror story that you've heard that they would do down there, they did. Fortunately enough, I didn't, you know, I never got pelted by any of that shit. And so, like, that was my first experience with working in Puerto Rico. And again, another one of those crazy deals where it's my first time really working there, and it's me and the one-man gang against Abby and fucking Carlos in the fucking main.
Well, speaking of bottles of piss and being pelted with shit, I'm going to pass it back to my co-host, Mika Villas, because I know she wants to get a couple more questions before we have to let you go tonight. Yes, Mika, I said that. That's right.
Horrible human being. Oh, my gosh. You suck. See what I have to do?
What the fuck did I walk into?
I don't know. I mean, like, this person just constantly abuses me, and this is why I'm so open to people whooping his ass. Usually I don't, you know, partake of violence, but if anybody wants to smash Huck, I'm down with that. Okay. So
somebody needs to book this. Like, somebody needs to book fucking Mika versus Huck, like, immediately. I'm buying a fucking ticket.
Why are you trying to get me killed? I thought you kind of sort of liked me a little bit.
No. I know how the female works, and I know how fucking angry and just downright hateful and mean y'all can, that hateful black the fuck out space y'all go to. I have seen this shit. Let me look around, make sure she can hear me. My wife's name is Keisha. He goes to that fucking place. Her name is Keisha.
Oh my gosh.
So,
Oh my gosh.
yeah.
All right. Do I got to chant please don't die in case she hears this later and still comes after you? Okay? Just don't.
I mean, yeah, please, like, save me.
All right. I may be like further burying you here. We talk about females in that blackout place. Are there any female wrestlers? How do you feel about female wrestling in general?
I tell you, I think that it has hit a resurgence, and it's hit a plateau that it's never been at. And actually, I'm glad to see it because I got, like, you know, say what you want to. I got so fucking sick and tired of just watching the women stand around the fucking ring and be the damn eye candy, and you know, like, and the ladies that are doing this shit these days, like, the boys better fucking watch out because, like, these girls have stepped it up and are just fucking killing it, you know. So I mean, my hat's off to them, you know.
Anybody off the top of your head there who you see or have seen, past or present, who just blew your socks off impressive? Because like you said, some of these girls now are bringing it where they're killing these boys out there with their work rate. But is there anybody in particular that comes to your mind?
I tell you, the two chicks that I'm closest to that just I'm so happy for both of them. And like just have stepped their game up and are like, we're not just pretty. You know, we can fucking go, and that's Kira Hogan and Priscilla. I find myself gravitating to you know, wherever we are, to just see their matches and what they're doing. They both are so good, you know, and I got to see them evolve firsthand, you know, because I didn't know who either of those girls were when I first came to AWE. I'm sorry. And just to see, you know, where they're at now, I mean, my hat's off. Like, I'm so proud of both of them. So happy for both of them.
Two definite stars. Priscilla, of course, Evolve. Kiera, Impact Knockout now. Let's talk about knockouts. Let's talk about Impact. Let's talk about legacy. And you mentioned earlier Luke Gallows, how, you know, he's one of these unsung people who is just so damn good. And I know that he has the Good Brothers Dojo out there, and I see you kind of push and promote that. Are you doing training, or have you thought about training, or what's the deal if somebody wanted to come under the legendary learning tree of Iceberg? What does it take, and are you even takers? So
well, I mean, Doc actually, who actually asked me to be a part of the dojo. So I'm one of the teachers there. With Tyson Dean and Fried Eddie, Scotty Beach, of course Luke, you know, Austin Theory, Austin White, he's in and out of there quite a bit. I know Jimmy came down at one point last year, I think it was, and did a seminar. John Schuyler has come down and did a seminar, you know, for the guys at the dojo. Theory, he you know, he's there quite a bit. You know, he actually originally came in to you know, be like a guest trainer, and come to find out he's only maybe 10-15 minutes away from the school. So he comes in quite a bit. Nigel Sherrod has come in, and, you know, anybody knows anything about Nigel, he's worked everywhere, whether it's behind the scenes selling gimmicks or, you know, wrestling or, you know, whatever. He's done TVs, you know. He was really close with the Fabulous Moolah, you know. So, I mean, that's a hell of a learning tree to be able to sit under and pick her brain and, you know. So, I mean, like, right now, because I had a little place down here, and it just kind of, everybody just kind of went their own ways, with the exception of I call him my son, Dominic Stuckey, which he's over at the dojo now, because I think those guys see in him what I do. And, I mean, there's a lot of good talent that's going to come out of that place. And I just saw where, you know, they've got a few girls signed up. So I mean, it's not just for the boys, you know, it's for everybody. and we've all, I think the coolest thing about it is we all came from different places and learned a different way. So we can each teach you something, and we can teach you the same thing, but in a different way. And that's what I think is so cool about it, because I find myself a lot of times sitting over there, and I'm listening probably harder than students are when any one of the other coaches is, talking to the kid. So, yeah, I'm over there. I haven't been there in a few weeks. Me and the wife just had girl number 3, so I've been staying home with her and the new baby.
Congratulations!
Thank you so much.
More girls to the world.
Yep, I got 3 of them now: 13, 10, and then this one will be 3 weeks on Thursday. So the estrogen is strong at my house.
The estrogen is strong at your house. Speaking of estrogen strong, I'm gonna let Will and his girly parts go ahead and finish this off.
Well,
let me throw one more name there. Let me throw one more name out there too, and I should be ashamed that I didn't mention it earlier. But fucking, what about Suge Wilson, man? Is he not killing it?
Oh yes, Suge Diaz. Jesus. For somebody that, but he's a good example. He's a good example of putting in the fouls, man.
Yeah, he is fucking taking, not just a region. He is taking the world by storm. Oh, and definitely. I'm so happy for him, man. I really am. That's
look, Iceberg. Iceberg. We set this interview to talk about you, and not for you to put everybody over. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, man. It's listen. If my shit's over and done with, and obviously it's winding down very quickly. It's to fucking teach people about this the newer generation of guys. The ones that are going to be leading the locker rooms and somebody that you won't be afraid to go up and ask questions, because when I came in, man, it was like pulling fucking teeth to get anything out of anybody.
See, I was going to ask you about that, Iceberg. I was going to say, like, what was the biggest difference you've seen in the wrestling business since when you first started to now? And do you think that the change in the wrestling business is for the good, or do you think it should go back to how a lot of people with your experience says it should go back to being very old school? Which do you prefer?
I think that there is a happy medium for the way shit was when I came in to the way shit is now. I think there's a happy middle where you can kind of mix everything up and have a great product. The AWE was a prime example of that, where you had every style under the fucking moon, literally, out there on one show. You had something for everybody, and I think that's why the fan base there was so loyal and is so loyal to them, because there was something for everybody, and it became it became a family with the boys and the guys and gals that bought the fucking tickets. That's one big family.
Yeah, definitely right like that. Yeah. Now, you said you feel like your career is winding down. As far as your in-ring career is winding down. Any regrets? Anything you can look back and say, I wish I would have done this instead, or why did I even do that?
Man, I'm very content with everything. Because to be honest with you, like, when I decided that I wanted to be a wrestler, I didn't have any aspirations of going any further than maybe getting on the show at the National Guard Armory here. I knew there was no chance in hell that I would, and that's funny that I say that I would ever go work for WWE, or WCW. Like, the closest chance that probably me, Bailey, Hank would have had at getting into one of the big 3 promotions would have been ECW. But no, as far as regrets, no, I don't have any because I've surpassed like everything that I could have wished for. I've done. I've traveled, I've made money, I've made a lot of friends. Made it to WWE a couple of times.
Well, I'm gonna ask you this before we let you go, Bird. I've got to. We usually do this thing here where we ask a couple of questions. All right, it's A or B. You just gotta answer them and stuff, and we figure out how much we like you. You know what I'm saying? If you decide to make a comeback on the show. So you know the road and stuff. After this show is going on, you know what I'm saying? The show is over. You're heading down the road to the next town. Which one is your first pick? IHOP or Waffle House?
Waffle House.
All right. Sheets or QT?
Sheets or TP?
Or QT. Quick Trip.
Oh, I like QT.
Oh man, Sheets is the joint. Okay.
Look, I'm giving you answers based on what the fuck I do and don't have here. You know what I'm saying? So,
all right, and last question. What's playing on? What's your guilty guilty song? What's your guilty pleasure song? Like nobody else is in the car, and this song comes on the radio. And what song is it that you're blasting that you don't want anybody else to know that you like to listen to?
Oh man,
you've got little girls, so it's got to be something like really out there crazy that you were irritated with at first, and now it's like the jam if nobody else is in the car.
No, it would just be me riding, just in the car by myself, and it's probably not going to be anything that anybody else has said or whatever, but I can relate to the song and the dance by Garth Brooks. That's like one song that I can listen to that I can relate to.
I love that song. Well, look, Iceberg, I know our time with you is running very short and stuff. This is the part of the show where we let you get your shit in. So this is the time when you can let our fans and listeners become your fans and listeners and stuff. So please give out your social media where people can contact you and where you're going to be, any upcoming appearances, where you might end up, where people you might pop up at, where people can see you, take a picture, buy one of those sweet ass Iceberg shirts.
Let's see. Facebook is Edward Chastain. I've got a couple of fan pages on there that I don't tend to very much, but I'll put them out there. The No Pain Train and just No Pain Train, which was my original Facebook name until the goddamn Facebook police said, no, you can't do that because we see that you're making money off of us. Fuck you, I'm still making money off of my fucking shoot name. So Instagram is Iceberg. I want to say it's _EST 1998. Twitter is NWA Iceberg. Let's see, what I've got coming up where I know I'm going to be, not where I know I might pop in or where I think I might pop in. I know I'm going to be in Monroe, Georgia on the 2nd of June for the Southern Fried Show. Charles Anschutz had actually contacted me at the beginning of the year and asked me if I minded if they inducted me into their Hall of Fame. And I'll tell you, I was in a really bad place at that point in time. And, for him to call me and ask me if they could induct me, I broke down. Because not very many people know this. Like, that I was in the hospital in June last year and was there for, 12 days, whatever. I was in the hospital in November, and I actually died 3 times. They brought me back. Wound up with an amputation, losing part of my foot. No, I'm not Kerry Von Erich, but goddammit, I'm close. Lost pinky toe and a toe upside on the right foot. But every night I was walking around on it. I was in a bad place. And this was the 22nd, I believe, which was a Tuesday, when all this shit happened. My health got really fucked up, and I got fucked up. And I look over in the hospital room, and there's my buddy D-Rod, Dusty Fordham, Rustin Schiffler is another friend of mine from here he's actually Zach Brown Band's stage manager. And I look to my right, and there's Gallows sitting in the fucking chair in the hospital room. So, yeah, I got mad respect and love for those guys.
Well, thank you, Iceberg. I'm sorry, go ahead. What was you about to say?
No, you're good, brother. I just, I've been very blessed. I mean, I know you guys, like, you don't understand how I look at shit. Like, I'm proud to know both of you. I feel like my life is better because I know both of you.
Well, maybe me. I don't know too much about Mika. I don't know too much about Mika, but definitely me.
Mika, I love you too, baby.
I love you, Berg. I do. You, honestly and truly, thank you so much for not just everything you've done, but what you continue to do, because you are an inspiration. I've never taken a bump. I don't plan on taking a bump, but just knowing you has been like just the best ever. So thank you. I'm over here like tearing up. So thank you.
Well, thank you, baby. Hey, Huck, thank you, brother. I appreciate you wanting me to come on, man.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for being the guest on the show, man. We enjoyed talking to you. I hope we can get you back on the show very soon, all right?
Yeah, brother, absolutely. And maybe I'll see you guys soon.
Yes. I'll be at the Southern Fried Gaming Expo, so hopefully you'll pop in.
I was going to say, there's a wedding that a lot of people from the hierarchy are going to crash. So, if I don't have a date for this wedding, but if you want to show up, I just want to watch. I don't want to get involved. I just want to,
Who's getting married? Oh, never mind. Put it mild. I got it.
Well, we'll talk to you later, all right, Iceberg?
You know what's funny about that? Is I put both of them over. Him physically and then her tonight on the show. That's all I'm saying. But I still love her. Ain't none of my business who anybody fucking marries. I don't give a shit.
Well, thank you for being on tonight, Iceberg. We'll catch you down the road.
All right, baby. Thank y'all, man.
Bye-bye.
All right, peace.
Mika.
Yes.
Iceberg. Even though he's a member of the hierarchy, one of my favorite people in wrestling.
It doesn't matter that he is a member of the hierarchy. Iceberg transcends groups. He transcends generations of wrestling. He is one of those legendary people who literally, if you're able to, as we just got the opportunity to sit down, to talk to him and just get a small smidgen. I've had the absolute pleasure of sitting with him at SCI, he and Tank, and listening to stories, and it is just the best as a fan. Again, girls, I'm not a wrestler at all. I'm not a trained, I don't take bumps, but being able to sit down and listen and talk to him, and every occasion I have has just been absolutely wondrous. It's been, I want to say, a dream come true. I am literally in tears here because this is one of those folks who, thank goodness he's still with us, that we're able to take and learn from him and just listen to the extraordinary life he's lived.
He's just a genuinely good guy. Like, if Iceberg loves you. If Iceberg likes you, he just comes up and he gives you a huge hug. And he's like, how you doing, man? I'm so glad to see you, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, we're winding down, Mika. So what you got coming up this week, girl?
This week, there is something happening in North Carolina. As you guys may have figured out, I'm a proponent of women's wrestling. There is something called Queens of Combat happening in North Carolina. I think I may jump in a ride or hitchhike up that way to check out the show. The headlining match is one returning Princess Kimberly versus the undead Bloody Bride Su Yung. I am a huge fan of both of these ladies. I am Switzerland usually when it comes to cheering for somebody, but I am cheering for both of them because I know it's going to be an absolute banger of a match. So I'm pretty much going to try to get up that way and check out what's happening. Also, of course, end of the month, I'll be at Battle Club Pro. May the Queen reign. Lots of females. Again, all-female show. We've got Jessica Havoc taking on Harlow O'Hara as your main event, and lots of other talented women on that card. Yours truly will be doing commentary without her other half, without Danny Danger. It will be very interesting, but I'm excited. And anybody in the New Jersey area, New York, tri-state, whatever, it doesn't matter where you are, bring your butt up there and check out that show too. Everybody except for you. I don't want you coming up there. You stay wherever the hell you're going to be at.
Saturday, SPCW, Lafayette, Tennessee. Sunday, Wrestling for Wally at Lafayette, Tennessee. Ladies and gentlemen, that's our show tonight. On behalf of the lover of waffles, the voice of the speech impediment, Mrs. Idolater of affection, hashtag Mrs. What That Mouth Do, the receiver of all things solicited, and one half of the world's cutest commentary team, Miss Chicago Win, Mika Villas. I am your AIWF World Heavyweight Champion, your World Wrestling Grand Prix Champion, the disrespectful intellectual of a Southern gentleman, a national treasure and a reality show TV star, the morning star, the incredible Will Huckaby, saying peace out and support indie wrestling.
Bye.